Hello YouTube, hello Breakfast Club. So I found an old thumb drive that I thought I'd lost forever. I lost it about a year ago. And I was going through it and I found something very interesting. It's a comment by Thunderfoot from many years ago on an old video of his. Let's take a look. I'm fully aware that even though the Nazis may have been pretty close to evil, the German army, in a large part, nothing of the sort. However, while I shed no tears for the Jews wiped out by the Nazis, I fully acknowledge this as an inhuman war crime. Nor does the fact that such crime have been committed previously in any way make it right to ignore such crime in the present. Right. So Thunderfoot won't shed a tear for the Jews killed by the Nazis. I mean, you read it, folks, and I will put a link in the description to the video that he said this in. Now, at least we finally have proof that he acknowledged the Holocaust as an inhuman war crime, because in more recent times he's refused to do that. The Nazis were pretty close to being evil, huh? Well, in that case, no one has ever been evil, Thunderfoot, because no one can achieve evil if the Nazis somehow didn't do it, right? Oh, shit. Fuck me and my fat ass. The Muslims are evil, aren't they? Because remember, kiddies, according to Thunderfoot, merely being a Muslim is a hate crime. German army, nothing of the sort. Now, this is the denial part of the whole thing. There are some people who seem to think that the main German army, the Wehrmacht, didn't do anything wrong and all they did was just follow orders to invade other countries. Is that why Poland lost 20% of its population during the war? Poland lost the greatest percentage of its population of any country during the war. And Poland didn't just lose a lot too, but so did the Soviet Union during Operation Barbarossa. 3.5 million Soviet soldiers died, and many of them were hauled off to the death camps and gassed because Hitler felt that Eastern Europeans were not Aryan, that they were Slavic peoples and they were a step below them. So Hitler didn't have any problem mass killing them. And actually, while I'm talking about that, I should make a side note here. There's another link in the description. Thunderfoot seems to like Erwin Rommel, Nazi war general Erwin Rommel, and has even engaged in denialism regarding Rommel being a Nazi thug. Thunderfoot has even claimed that Rommel was some sort of humane man who never violated any human rights whatsoever. Is that why Rommel took part in the invasion of Poland? I mean, where was his human rights then? And is that why Rommel did refuse to join the plot to assassinate Hitler? The real reason why Rommel refused to kill his POWs, and this has been studied, because Erwin Rommel has gotten some misguided praise from some people. It's because the Nazis wanted so-called Aryan soldiers from enemy nations to defect, which the British, the French, and the Americans, who were mostly of Celtic and Norse ancestry, they fit that bill. And that's really the only explanation, only rational explanation for what Rommel was doing, for why the British and American POWs were treated so well, while the Jews, Soviets, and Polish died horrible deaths, either on the battlefields or in the death camps. And here's a picture of the German military massacring Jews in Ukraine. It's one of the most famous images of the war. In fact, that innocent German military who didn't do anything wrong, according to Thunderfoot, their actions accounted for 25% of all the Jewish deaths of the war. Not all Jews were hauled off to the camps and gassed, or died of labor or whatever. And to be honest with you, had Rommel survived the war, he would have been hanged with the rest of them. So for those of you out there who seem to think Thunderfoot is some sort of good person who's just like this reverse broken watch who's wrong once in a while, remember this. He thinks the Nazis were just freedom fighters for their country, and he refuses to shed a tear for the Jews that were killed. Don't get me wrong, there were legitimate criticisms of the winners of World War I and the things that they did to Germany, but there's no excuse for what the Nazis did, period. And, I'm going to put another link in the description. This is the most difficult video to watch I've ever seen on YouTube. And, I want people to understand, yes, the capitalists who won World War I and World War II, the British, the French, and the Americans, in many ways they were no better morally than the Nazis and communists they beat, but that's just beside the point. This is why, Thunderfoot, I can't wait for the white men at the top of the atheist community, the Four Horsemen, and then people like you and Pat Condell. I can't wait for you guys to hurry up and pass away so that more women and non-whites can take their proper seat at the table. And for those of you out there who are still friends with Thunderfoot, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, fuck you. You people really are terrible. I'd like to think that I tolerate many different opinions among friends, even longtime friends that I've been friends with since childhood. But Nazi denialism simply is never going to be one of them. And notice I'm saying Nazi denialism, not Holocaust denialism. I'm splitting up some hairs here, but there is a distinction to be made there. But still, if you're friends with Thunderfoot from here on, if you're actually willing to tolerate that out of somebody, I got nothing to do with you. Okay? And that's really all I have to say about that because I'm now at 5.5 minutes. Steve, I do believe you're going to be up next, and the rest of you all Breakfast Clubbers, I'll see you next week.